for my own sanity, I am reshooting this. And not for my sanity, but for the sanity of you, the viewer. I'm also reshooting this. Hi, it's me. Today, we're doing the Cedar Point video. But this time, I actually have my shit up, and I do it correctly. Two issues with the last time. I wasn't able to edit it correctly due to where my points were. When I would put my hand up, it wouldn't show on the thing in post, and I'm not watching a 30-minute video, because that's apparently what YouTubers do nowadays. It also switched halfway through my orientation, so you wouldn't be able to go through it correctly. So it would just go from portrait to landscape at the 15-minute mark, which I don't think anybody wants to deal with. I especially don't want to deal with that in editing, because I'm not going to shoot the 15 minutes again. I'm just going to reshoot the whole video for my own sanity. Now, shall we? As of the 22nd of June, if I'm not incorrect on when I got out of school, we left. We just got in the car the second we got home and drove up to Ohio. Well, several stops along the way, but the one we're looking at is Ohio. We spent 2 days at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, which, by the way, is just about the deadest place on earth. There are 3 restaurants. All of them are fast food. So bring a PB&J if you don't like the taste of fast food meat. Darling, there's nothing besides the stuff that's in the park, really. You're only going there for the park, and you're only going to want to stay in the park hotels for reasons. But besides that, the park itself, which is going to be the main focus of this video, is actually really, really good. Really, really good. It's beautiful. I love it. I was there. So our trip starts, or our story starts, roughly 7 in the morning on the 25th, I believe? 25th of June? Yeah, that sounds about right. Yes, I said 7 in the morning, and yes, you heard me right, that this is a vacation. We have season passes, and the park opens up at 9. So, of course, us being us, we had to get up early and get dressed and do all our crap, so we had to get up that early to get there at 9, and we did. It was relatively empty, which I like that. It's relatively empty, but spoiler alert, it doesn't stay empty for very long. So now, excuse me while I look up Raptors stats, because I didn't put this in the original video, I didn't have any of the stats up. I need to have them up. Otherwise, that's going to be a very unfortunate video you got there. I don't feel like putting it all in post. I will put most of it in post, as always. But we started at the first ride we could find. That was a roller coaster, which was Raptor, which, if you did not know, is 54 inches minimum. My sister barely hits that. She's about like 55, 56. And I'm 4'10", so I'm 58. You don't really need to explain more than that. So it's about, when you first at opening, it's about, just say like 5 minutes wait line. So we get on it. It's pretty easy. But stats wise, it is a height of 137 feet, or 42 meters for all of you who don't use the Imperial system. 119 feet drop. 36 meters for all of you who don't use the Imperial system. 3,790 feet long, or 1,160 meters, and 57 miles an hour, and 92 kilometers an hour. 57's 220 below what you do on the highway. So, not crazy fast, but pretty dang fast. So, we get on. I'm going to do like a pros and cons. My only qualms with this were the awkward little banked turns that they had. They just had to make it like swivel a little bit. The chair does not swivel, first of all, but it made it swivel for some reason, and that annoyed the living heck out of me. For also no reason, I just didn't feel like it. I should also mention that this is a B&M, or Bolliger and Mabillard. I'm not saying that, I'm just going to say B&M. That's too difficult for my liking. It's themed after the raptor, if you don't know what a raptor is. I'm really confused if you don't know what a raptor is. And how many inversions is this? I don't think it's that many. I think Valraven has less than it though. It has Oh, a little fun fact, it took 1,500 gallons of paint. There's an incident list too. That's beautiful. The incident list. We're not going to talk about that though. We're just looking for wherever the amount of inversions are, wherever that's going to be. Where is it? It's impossible to find. Okay, we're not going to look that up. We're just leaving you with the facts we have. Oh, 6 inversions. 6 inversions. It was at the beginning. Because of course it was at the beginning. Okay, so we get on. It's pretty basic. Chain lift, drop to the side, that whole thing. There wasn't anything particularly special about the inversions. There wasn't really anything special in general, but it was either on this one or the second one I went on. I think it was this one where I almost grayed out. Or, in my terms, what a gray out is seeing stars or phosphenes in your vision. I did that on this one, on the initial drop down. Which, yeah, that happens. So, you know. That, and then the thing I mentioned earlier, I did not like the little swivelly bits, but those happen. Swivelly bits will be swivelly bits, and I can't exactly control that. So we get off, and then the second thing we go on is, which at this point it's already 9:15 roughly, and the park is packed already. You just heard that correctly. 15 minutes after season pass only opening, it's packed. To any Cedar Point goers in the future, if you want to get on stuff, you better get up early and get there at 8:45. It's unfortunate, but I learned this the hard way. Next thing we're on is Valraven, which is a 40-minute wait line by the time we get there. I don't think it's actually 40 minutes that we're in line. It's probably more like 20 or 30. But we're in there a while. I did, however, like the theming of Valraven. It was very nice. I need to look up the stats real quick. Only thing that's annoying is it's kind of hard to spell. It's not hard to spell, but it's just a little annoying. Okay, this one is far faster than Raptor is. And I feel like it's one of those things that you can sort of see how fast something is. Like the, what's it called? Like Superman Ultimate Flight at Great Adventure, my home park, looks like it's slow, but you feel like you're going pretty fast. It's one of those things. So its official stats are, it has a height of 223 feet or 68 meters, 214 feet or 65 meters of drop. Whoops. Length is 3,415 meters feet or 1,041 meters. Excuse me, I'm messing up with that. And the speed is 75 miles per hour or 121 kilometers per hour. I don't know anyone who uses either of those. I don't know who uses the kilometers per hour. It sounds a lot faster when it's in kilometers per hour. But there you go. There's your stats. I need to also find the amount of inversions. I believe there are 3. We had a very nice, whatchamacallit. We had a very nice ride operator who was super energetic. Shout out to them. They did good. I really liked that. That was a very fun experience. I don't know what it is. It's a dive coaster. It's a little fun fact. It's got the vest style and it's manufactured by, you guessed it, B&M. Because there's nothing that isn't there's like 3 things that aren't manufactured by B&M that I know. There are, only know the 3 because it's not saying how many inversions it has, but I know the person said like 3 or 4, so not crazy. I wouldn't say I have any qualms with it, but I will say, please stop making coasters where there's a stall for several seconds at the end of the drop, because that's enough to freak me out. There was a stall, it was still fun. And dive coasters with loops, also very fun. Now we skip to the bonus segment of our video. Cedar Downs, which is their horse racing ride. But I just have a fun story to come out of this because I'm an idiot. and I don't read the stuff. So first of all, I'm just going to preface this by saying we were going 14.5 miles an hour, which I round up to 15 in this story multiple times. My dad tells me a story about his dad complaining that he almost fell off of it when they went, because my dad grew up around there. So I would just sort of say to my sister, like, screw it, let's go on that. We do. The only thing is that we notice when we're boarding the ride that there are no seatbelts. So you're doing 15 miles an hour clinging to a piece of metal for dear life. It's not fun at all. I mean, it's not fun clinging onto it for dear life. It's fun. It's a fun ride. But unless you're ready to cling to a thing for dear life and maybe get sweaty palms from it, don't try it. Ever. Yeah, no. It's still fun, though. Because it's themed off of horse racing, and if you don't like loud noises either, I wouldn't suggest that. It's kind of loud. They have, like, announcers, like, blaring and whatnot. But that leaves us with our third of that day. I'm really bad at typing. There we are. We typed it in. Corkscrew, which is arguably my worst ride that I've ever had on something ever. That's not a phrase I use lightly, by the way. It was the first in the world with 3 inversions, and you can feel that it was the first in the world with 3 inversions. Oh, much. First of all, I don't have any pros to this ride. At all. All of them are cons. The first one I have is the restraints. They're just uncomfy. The chairs are just uncomfy. There was something I think it's supposed to be like a neck rest for normal people, or for normal people a backrest, but I'm 4'10". That's not gonna happen. It's just gonna press into my shoulder blades until it hurts, which it did. So even just getting on the ride, I was already uncomfortable and already unhappy. It gets worse. When you're actually going up the ride, it's kind of loud and kind of annoying. I don't particularly like it at all. So that happens. And then you get to the actual loops, and oh my god, this thing bashes your head around like none other. It's not even worth it for the nice photo op of your family seeing you go by the corkscrews. It's not fun. I go down the thing in the first loop, I'm just like, oh my god, this is going to get so much worse, isn't it? It gets so much worse, as it always does. And then there's the corkscrews. We go through the first one, and I'm pretty much internally begging for it to stop. And just waiting, so just like, oh my god, if I have to go through another one, which I do, because it's got 2 corkscrews. You go through it, and by the end of it, I come off, I'm desperate for water, because my head is pounding. Because it's been pounded into the restraints over and over again. I would not suggest it, unless you really like headaches. But for the stats, we have 85 feet tall, 26 meters. The drop is 65 feet long, or 20 meters. 2,050 feet long, or 620 meters, and it goes 48 miles an hour, or 77 kilometers an hour. And, like I said, it's got 3 inversions, and it was built in 1976, because who can tell that it was old and rickety? Oh, and instead of B&M, for once, it was developed by Arrow. I don't know who Arrow Development is. But then we skip to day 2 of our adventure. Adventure? Is that the right word? No. Okay. Apologies, I was cut off for a second. But we start our second day, once again, at 7 in the morning. This time with the knowledge that it actually opens at 8:45, and we might be able to get a chance to ride Millennium Force. It's not crazy hot out or not crazy cold out. It's also 8 in the morning. It's not going to be. We get there probably 8:40. No, nothing early, but there's already a line out pretty much out the door to get in because it opens at 8:45. Yada, 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 yada. You get it. So we have 2 things that we want to do that day, and that's Millennium Force and Steel Vengeance. We only have 2 because we only really need to get to 2, and that's it. But while we're doing that, I needed to Google the stats, have those up for when we needed to do that. It was fun. But we get there. It's a 5-10 minute walk to Millennium Force because, oh my god, it is a big park, my friend. But you can see it go up from the thing, and usually at the time we were there yesterday, or the day before, it was a 2-hour wait line by the time we got there. your boy was not having it. Needless to say. But for your stats, you have an 80-degree angle of descent. I don't have the metric conversions for this one, unfortunately. A 300-foot drop. It's 310 feet tall. I think they're counting the extra little pole they have to put up there so airplanes don't fly into it. It is 6,595 feet. It is a 3 to 36 passenger train. It is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Its top speed goes 93 miles an hour, and it's manufactured by Intamin, which is actually shown. This is the only one I knew, because it was shown on the car. The car on the inside has a thing that says Intamin. It has pretty similar restraints to Nitro, if you've ever been on that, where it's just a lap bar. You're not inverting or anything, so you wouldn't need anything much more than a lap bar, but it's very nice. So we get on there. It is a quick trip up, my friend. It is a quick trip up. We're talking maybe less than a minute for how tall it is. 300 feet tall. It's pretty fast. It's really loud, though. It's really, really loud. So me and my sister are there. The first drop is absolutely amazing. It's worth riding it every time. It's amazing. It's really fast. And I think I'd rate out twice on this one. My favorite thing was probably the airtime that you get, because there are so many hills. It's very hilly and very bouncy. It's beautiful. I love it. It was awesome. It was awesome, basically. If you are really, really weird about your hair, I would warn you, your hair is going to get messed up on this one. It's kind of just one of those rides. But then our second one, it's only been probably 7 minutes on the line 3 on the ride, so about 10 minutes. And now we are heading over to Steel Vengeance. It is probably 9 in the morning now. Only problem is Steel Vengeance opens at 10. I need to look at my keyboard real quick. Sorry, I'm really bad with my keyboard sometimes. That's not what I meant by stats, buddy, but okay. Okay. I prefer the Wikipedia stats, but it doesn't always give me the Wikipedia stats. You know. So, it opens at 10. There's already a crazy long line. So, me and my family go over to see Maverick. My mom is standing in line for us. Maverick has just as long of a line, and we don't feel like going on Maverick. We'd rather go on Steel Vengeance because it's slightly cooler. And we do. So we get in line, and we stand at a dead still for 30 minutes. My sister is complaining. The guy with the kid is sort of complaining and lecturing him on coaster trivia for some reason. The guy behind us occasionally butts into our conversations. Not in a bad way, though. We enjoyed his extra. What's the word? I don't know what the word is. We enjoyed it. After that, it's about another hour of waiting in line. Luckily, it has enough theming for me to sort of keep myself entertained by reading it. Something about cowboy names, basically, and cowboys, and instead of being normal people and settling your debates like normal people, you decide to fight a coaster battle? Coaster battle? If I remember reading that correctly. Essentially, there's a character for Steel Vengeance and there's a character for Maverick, and they hate each other, and it's a whole Wild West themed feud. Yeah, Q theming is kind of interesting. They are really strict on their policies when it comes to pins and buttons and jewelry of any kind. My sister was asked to take off her little pin. And it only has a seatbelt. It doesn't have a over-the-thing restraint, believe it or not. And this is an inverting ride, but it's an inverting wood coaster, so I kind of don't really blame them. It's also got crazy airtime, as it says. It's a world record breaker, is what they said. It's the longest hybrid coaster in the world, as Cedar Point is bragging over here. But here are our stats. 205 feet tall, 74 miles an hour, the longest hybrid coaster in the world at 5,740 feet, 30 seconds of airtime, and like 6-7 inversions. It's only 52 feet restriction anyway, so it's very nice. I've got a couple of other stats, but none of them are really the ones I want. Oh yeah, 4 inversions. But they have there's two kinds of inversions. There's full corkscrews, and then there's sort of like a switchback one where it goes up, like you invert, and then you invert back, but you don't do a full turn. There's 2 of each, I believe. So that's nice. It's going by it, I will say, though, was incredibly loud. And when I do mean incredibly loud. It's, like, deafening loud, the clacking of the train. Like I said, if you're audio sensitive, not your cup of tea, buddy. Besides that, I think that's all of the important things and all of the coasters that we hit. My sister and my dad did hit Rougarou. I did not. I was exhausted by the end of the day. We had come back. We were at the water park, but the water park isn't really much to talk about because we were only there for a half an hour before it got closed down to thunder and lightning. Yeah, it did that. Fun. But I believe that's it, and I will see you all in the next video.